You can feel the tension building. Bradley Fortuin is out on track and getting ready to push for their qualifying time.
It's a delicate balance between taking it easy and pushing hard. Let's see how Bradley Fortuin handles it.
This is where the mental game comes into play. Dylan Visagi is taking their time to prepare for their qualifying run.
This is the moment they've been preparing for. Let's see if they can execute.
It looks like Ernest Heather is getting ready to make their move. They're taking their time to warm up those tires and get everything just right.
They will want to get a good gap established for their first flying lap.
The adrenaline is pumping. Bradley Fortuin is on their out lap, warming up the tires and getting ready to put in a fast lap time.
These are the moments that really matter. Let's see if Bradley Fortuin can deliver.
The pressure is on in this qualifying session, but Ernest Heather is rising to the occasion.
Absolutely. Ernest Heather is showing the world what they're made of.
It's clear that Bradley Fortuin is on a mission in this qualifying session. They're pushing their car to the limit.
Let's see if they can put a good marker down.
There are just over 10 minutes left in this qualification session. Peter Geldenhuys is on their out lap.
Patience is key in these early moments, Mark. But I have a feeling Peter Geldenhuys is going to make it count.
Peter Geldenhuys crosses the start-finish line at the end of their out lap. Wow, look at Jean-Olivier go. They're really turning on the jets in this qualifying session. Dylan Visagi is not as quick as they were hoping for. They're going to need to dig deep and find some extra pace on this next one if they want to move up the grid. Dylan Visagi will be happy having put themselves into third in this qualifying session.
Every fraction of a second counts. I'm sure they can find a little extra in there.
You can feel the tension building. Jano van der Westhuizen is out on track and getting ready to push for their qualifying time. Chantal de Jager looks to be off the pace. Annie, what do you think they need to do to improve? Looks like Bradley Fortuin is channeling their inner Schumacher today. They're absolutely flying out there.
Is it just me or does it feel like we're watching a superhero in action here?
Bradley Fortuin is absolutely smashing it. Bradley Fortuin has some work to do as that 125.439 is only good enough for 14.
There's still more time to be had, but I don't know if they are going to find it before the session is over.
Keen Gauss is on their first flying lap. Sean Olivier is not as quick as they were hoping for. They're going to need to dig deep and find some extra pace on this next one if they want to move up the grid.
That's right, it's all or nothing now. They need to stay focused, hit their marks, and extract every ounce of performance from that car to move up the grid.
Dylan Visagi looks to be off the pace. Annie, what do you think they need to do to improve? Dylan Visagi will be happy having put themselves into fourth in this qualifying session.
It may be difficult for them to improve further on that. Sometimes trying too hard makes you slower. They need to drive smooth and smart.
There are just over 5 minutes left in this qualification session. Chantal de Jager is not as quick as they were hoping for. They're going to need to dig deep and find some extra pace on this next one if they want to move up the grid. This is what it's all about. Keen Gauss is putting on a show for the fans in this qualifying session. Keen Gauss has just completed that lap in 3:02.333. Their best lap so far is 1:23.648. Putting them in P9. Will they be able to hold onto that spot? Sean Olivier looks to be off the pace. Annie, what do you think they need to do to improve?
They'll need to put together a perfect lap, hitting every apex and pushing the car to the limit without going over it.
I think I just saw a blur fly by. Oh wait, that's just JP Brand going at lightning speed.
Looks like JP Brand is really cooking with gas out there today.
Time to bring out the marshmallows and let's toast some fuel. JP Brand has some work to do as that 123.526 is only good enough for 6th. Mark Guy is not as quick as they were hoping for. They're going to need to dig deep and find some extra pace on this next one if they want to move up the grid.
Well, Mark, they'll need to find those extra tenths of a second by pushing just a little bit harder on the braking and carrying more speed through the corners.
Someone call the fire department because Dylan Visagi is setting this track on fire with their performance. I don't know about you, but I think Adrian Gauss might have a secret rocket booster hidden in their car. They're just that fast.
It's amazing what a little bit of adrenaline and a lot of horsepower can do, right, Mark? Adrian Gauss is just showing us all what they're made of.
Michelle Rust has some work to do as that 124.000 is only good enough for 11th. It's been a challenging session for Chantal de Jager. They're currently languishing in 12th position, which is not where they had envisioned themselves. But in motorsport, anything can happen, and with their skill and determination, they might still turn things around.
You're absolutely right, Mark. Chantal de Jager might be disappointed with their current position, but there's still time to make a difference. They'll need to remain composed, analyze the data, and push themselves to the limit to improve their qualifying result.
Incredible drive by Mark Guy so far, earning them second on the grid. However, the competition is fierce. Will they be able to find that extra edge to move up?
Couldn't agree more, Mark. Mark Guy has positioned themselves impressively in second. Now, they need to build on this foundation and strive for an even better race result.
What a performance from Dylan Visagi. They currently occupy 6th on the grid. Can they maintain this strong position and secure a favorable starting spot? Dylan Visagi has some work to do as that 123.742 is only good enough for 6th. Not the ideal start for Chantal de Jager in this qualifying session. Currently in 12th position, they'll be eager to put together a strong final lap to improve their standing. The pressure is on, and they'll need to deliver their best performance.
Absolutely, Mark. Chantal de Jager is facing a challenging situation, but they have the skill and determination to turn things around. It's not over until the checkered flag, and they still have a chance to improve their result.
A solid qualifying performance by Ernest Heather, positioning them in 10th at the moment. The question now is whether they can make further progress and challenge the frontrunners.
I completely agree, Mark. Ernest Heather has positioned themselves impressively in 10th. However, it's crucial for them to keep pushing to potentially improve their starting position.
Currently in 5th, Jano van der Westhuizen has displayed promising speed during the qualifying session. The real test lies in whether they can convert this performance into a higher grid position.
Spot on analysis, Mark. Jano van der Westhuizen has positioned themselves well in fifth. It's now crucial for them to maintain their focus and defend their position in the upcoming race.
Jano van der Westhuizen will be happy having put themselves into fifth in this qualifying session. Annie, the drivers are ready. Let the racing begin?
Yes, Mark. Let the racing begin.
Starting from pole position is a dream come true for Jean-Olivier. Marc Guy is holding down the fort in second place. Sitting in third, it's Keen Gauss. In the fourth position, we have Melvin Gauss ready to tackle the race ahead. As the green flag drops, keep an eye on Jano van der Westhuizen starting in fifth position.
I think we are all looking forward to seeing what Jano van der Westhuizen can do from here.
Sitting in sixth, the lights are out and it's go time.
Staying out of trouble in these early moments is crucial. It's a fine line between pushing hard and staying safe.
I can't wait to see how this race will play out.
I am so excited at the prospects for this race. I can't wait to see the drama unfold.
Settling into a rhythm is going to be crucial here.
I'm really looking forward to seeing how this race unfolds.
There's some intense battling throughout the field as everyone is looking to get off to a good start.
All the drivers will be jostling for the best position mark. Some of them may not make it to the second lap in one piece.
The stewards will be hoping that there aren't too many incidents for them to pick over when the dust settles on this one.
What a beautiful day for racing here at Killarney International Raceway. This is going to be good to watch.
As they speed through start-finish, Jano van der Westhuizen is relentlessly pursuing Koen Gauss in a high-stakes battle for position. Superb driving from Jano van der Westhuizen, who with that overtake has gained a position in the race. This is where legends are made. Which driver will rise to the occasion and claim victory?
This is what separates the good from the great. The ability to stay focused and perform under pressure.
The pressure is on for Dylan Visagie as they try to catch up to Koen Gauss. This is getting exciting. Can JP Brand pull off a late charge and gain a position? JP Brand is on a mission, chasing Michel Rust, who's desperately trying to stay ahead.
The gap is 0.3 seconds now. JP Brand is going to have to work a bit harder to close that gap with Michel Rust.
Wayne Midden is pushing really hard, but as we know, pushing too hard can lead to other mistakes, like locking up the brakes or missing a shift. These drivers are walking a tightrope between pushing the limits and making costly errors.
Absolutely. It's all about finding that sweet spot where you're pushing the car to its limits without crossing the line into reckless driving. That's where experience and skill come into play. The tension between Wayne Midden and Amir Rylands is palpable as they battle for P12. No doubt, both drivers know that one mistake could cost them the position. It's a test of nerves as much as skill.
Seems like Koen Gauss is getting in range of Dylan Visagie. It's neck and neck, the closest battle we've seen in a while.
As an experienced driver, I can tell you that Michel Rust must be laser focused on Ernest Heather's every move, looking for the slightest weakness to exploit.
They're giving it everything they've got. It's a battle of nerves as they push the limits of adhesion, going wheel to wheel in a thrilling display of racing prowess. Braking update. That won't be ideal for Koen Gauss.
It's a real shame. Until this point in the race, they've been looking at a decent result.
Pushing too hard can lead to mistakes, and we're seeing that now. That car is really unsettled as they push for every last bit of speed. We got a close battle as Peter Geldenhuys closes in on Chantal de Jager.
That's right, Mark. The pressure is high. The fans are on the edge of their seats, waiting to see who will come out on top in this epic showdown.
It's a game of inches now as Amir Rylands tails Wayne Midden closely, ready to capitalize on any mistake. Oh, this is getting intense. Koen Gauss is just a few car lengths behind Jano van der Westhuizen. Peter Geldenhuys is giving it their all as they chase down Chantal de Jager in P8.
This is where every inch counts. Peter Geldenhuys is pushing hard to close the gap on Chantal de Jager. Absolutely, precision and control are key here. Knowing when to push and when to hold back can be the difference between winning and losing.
It's It's a nail-biting showdown between these three drivers. They're nose to tail, pushing their limits in every corner.
No doubt about it, Mark. The battle for that same piece of tarmac is intense. The sparks flying and the close quarters racing showcase the incredible skill and nerve of these drivers.
This is where the skill and experience of the drivers really come into play. Chantal de Jager will need to stay focused and keep pushing, even when the gap seems insurmountable. It's not over until the checkered flag drops.
Absolutely. Chantal de Jager in 8th will need to be patient and carefully work to reduce that gap without overdriving it, as they can't afford to take unnecessary risks and risk an off or damaging their car. Let's see if they have what it takes to get back into the game here.
Dylan Visagi is looking for an opportunity to get round Keen Gauss.
And they are poised to capitalize on any mistake, but who's going to make that mistake first?
The action is non-stop as Ernest Heather shadows Jano van der Westhuizen through every twist and turn, determined to claim 5th. It's a tale of two drivers right now, with Ernest Heather gaining places and Jano van der Westhuizen losing them.
Absolutely. Ernest Heather is showing great pace and determination, but they can't get too confident. There are still plenty of challenges ahead.
It's a tense battle for position between Peter Geldenhuys in 9th and JP Brand in 10. Peter Geldenhuys is keeping JP Brand at a gap of 0.2 seconds. Every move counts now as JP Brand works to reel in Peter Geldenhuys and overtake for P9. It's a battle of wills out there, with Dylan Visagi trying to outsmart and outmaneuver Keen Gauss. The gap is slowly closing, but time is running out. Will we hold on a moment? Oh my, Amir Rylands has had an incident.
Amir Rylands is not going to be happy about that.
The race is heating up as Dylan Visagi in 3rd closes in on Keen Gauss. The gap is just over a second, and I'm sure they are going to do everything possible to try and close the distance. They're not giving up without a fight. This is a thrilling battle as Jano van der Westhuizen edges closer to Ernest Heather in their fight for P5.
You can see that car bouncing around as they ride the curves. It's a risky move that could end in disaster.
The fans are on the edge of their seats. It doesn't get any closer than this. Fantastic move from Ernest Heather, who has just gained a position. It's a brilliant day for racing, and the drivers are putting on a show.
Absolutely. What a great race we are witnessing today. These drivers are giving it their all, and it's a thrill to watch them compete at this level.
They're really pushing themselves and their machines to the limit, and it's paying off with some incredible driving.
It's a pleasure to be here today, Mark. You really can't beat the excitement of a good race.
Breaking news, folks. Oh my, Ernest Heather has dropped down to 6th. Look at that. Dylan Visagi is hot on the tail of Keen Gauss.
One important aspect here is choosing the right braking points. Dylan Visagi needs to be precise to avoid overshooting and losing valuable time.
This is what high-octane racing looks like. Ernest Heather is breathing down the neck of Jano van der Westhuizen, not giving them any room to relax.
This is what makes motor racing so exciting. The tension is high and the stakes are even higher. Who will take home the victory? It's too close to call.
This is what it's all about, folks. Adrian Gauss is in hot pursuit of Peter Geldenhuys, who's just trying to stay ahead. This is where the race gets really interesting. Chantal de Jager is closing in on JP Brand. Bradley Fortuyn wants to get into Mark Guy's slipstream. The pressure is really on for Peter Geldenhuys in 8th as Adrian Gauss is closing in. This is where experience and skill really count.
Absolutely. Peter Geldenhuys is really making that car as wide as possible, not giving Adrian Gauss an inch of space. It's going to take something special for Adrian Gauss to get past him.
Look at that. They're trading places in every turn, a constant game of cat and mouse. Each driver knows one mistake could cost them dearly.
No doubt about it, Mark. The battle for supremacy between these drivers is fierce. The way they navigate through those tight corners is a testament to their skill and determination.
Peter Geldenhuys seems to be putting the pressure on Adrian Gauss. This is what racing is all about. Two fierce competitors pushing each other to the limit. No room for error here. Peter Geldenhuys is breathing down the neck of Adrian Gauss, waiting for the perfect chance to make their move. Hold that thought. Hold the phone. Now I may be wrong here, but I'm not sure that's the racing line. Jano van der Westhuizen is pitting. The crowd is on its feet as Dylan Visagie chases down Keen Gauss through start-finish. A great moment for Dylan Visagie, who has just gained a place and moved up the standings. Look at the way the drivers are hugging those corners, it's like they're on rails.
Speaking of rails, did you know that the first racetrack was built on a railway in 1896? I bet those drivers were chugging along.
Har ha, I bet they were. But things have come a long way since then, haven't they?
Definitely. It's amazing to think about the technology that goes into these cars now. I mean, they have more computing power than some countries.
Looks like Adrian Gauss is really pushing it to the limit. They're taking those curves aggressively, but that can unsettle the car and cause handling issues.
Indeed, taking too much curb can upset the car's balance, leading to oversteer or understeer. It's all about finding the right balance between speed and control.
This is where the skill and precision of the drivers really comes into play. Keen Gauss is chasing Dylan Visagie in P2. The pursuit is on. Adrian Gauss is closing the gap on Peter Geldenhuys, determined to claim P7.
The mental game is just as important here. Adrian Gauss must keep their cool while putting pressure on Peter Geldenhuys.
Oh, this is getting intense. Dylan Visagie is just behind Keen Gauss. And Dylan Visagie has just won the place from Keen Gauss.
Go, 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 that's what we want to see.
As a former driver, Annie, how did you manage the physical demands of racing?
It's all about preparation, Mark. Drivers undergo rigorous fitness training to build their strength, stamina, and flexibility. A proper diet and hydration plan is also essential to ensure peak performance on race day.
The battle for 7 is heating up as Peter Geldenhuys tries to catch Adrian Gauss in P7.
It's all about finding the perfect opportunity. Peter Geldenhuys needs to stay patient and wait for Adrian Gauss to make a mistake.
It's like watching two predators circling each other, waiting for the perfect moment to pounce.
This is where the mental game comes into play. Who will keep their cool under pressure? Keen Gauss or Dylan Visagie? It's anyone's race.
Peter Geldenhuys is running 8th. They're trying to catch Adrian Gauss.
That driver is really pushing the limits. They're riding the curbs and pushing the car to its limits.
The intensity is off the charts as Keen Gauss hounds Dylan Visagie. Both drivers pushing themselves to the absolute limit.
At this rate, Keen Gauss and Dylan Visagie are so close, they could share a cup of tea and a biscuit.
Pushing too hard can lead to mistakes, and we're seeing that now. That car is really unsettled as they push for every last bit of speed. Oh, this is getting intense. Wayne Midden is just a few car lengths behind Chantal de Jager.
The gap between them is now just over 0.4 seconds. Who will come out on top?
The adrenaline is pumping as Keane Gauss gets within striking distance of Dylan Visagie in their race for second. Wow, Peter Geldenhuys is really pushing hard to catch up to Adrian Gauss. There's blood in the water for 7th place.
And it's not just about skill and talent. It's about who has the nerves of steel to handle the pressure and make the right decisions at the right time.
Adrian Gauss is on a mission, chasing Peter Geldenhuys, who's desperately trying to stay ahead. Hold on to your hats, folks. Dylan Visagie is right on the heels of Keane Gauss, and we're in for a wild ride.
Dylan Visagie is so close to Keane Gauss that if this were a dance floor, they'd be doing the tango.
It looks like Dylan Visagie is making a move. The gap to Keane Gauss is now down to 0.1 seconds.
This is what racing is all about. It's anyone's game at this point. Who will come out on top?
What a move. Dylan Visagie has moved up to second. The gap between Dylan Visagie and Keane Gauss is razor thin as they vie for second in this nail-biting contest.
This battle between Dylan Visagie and Keane Gauss is so intense. You could cut the tension with a knife, or should I say, with a front wing.
Keane Gauss appears to be trying to find a way round Dylan Visagie. They could make a move on them in Continental. Keane Gauss appears to be losing ground on Dylan Visagie. They will need to pick up the pace a bit as they head into Castrol and see if they can get a good exit and gain some ground.
This is where the mental toughness of Keane Gauss comes into play. They need to stay focused and keep pushing, even when things aren't going their way.
It's a close race between Wayne Midden and Adrian Gauss in 8th. It's an intense battle for position as Marc Guy tries to outmaneuver Chantal de Jager. This is edge of your seat racing. Things are heating up as Keane Gauss closes in on Dylan Visagie. The gap between them is down to practically nothing. A brilliant maneuver from Keane Gauss, who has just moved up the field.
You can't argue with results like that. Keane Gauss is really making their mark on this race.
A setback for Keane Gauss, who has just been passed. It's a thrilling pursuit as Marc Guy is right behind Chantal de Jager, keeping the pressure on for 10th place. The tension is high. Who will come out on top in this epic showdown? Adrian Gauss has the pedal to the metal chasing Wayne Midden. The action is non-stop as Marc Guy shadows Chantal de Jager through every twist and turn, determined to claim 10th.
You can feel the intensity in the air. The slightest mistake could cost either of them the race.
Superb driving from Mark Guy, who with that overtake has gained a position in the race.
Yes, Mark Guy is driving with real focus and precision, and it's paying off.
It's a battle of wills out there. Each driver trying to outsmart and outmaneuver the other. Wayne Midden wants to find a way round Adrian Gauss.
Rubbing is racing. Let's hope they don't rub it too hard.
This is where legends are made. Which driver will rise to the occasion and claim victory? It's like Sean Olivier has saved all their energy for this final stretch. What a win! This is a historic moment for Sean Olivier, who put on a masterclass in driving today. What a display of skill and precision.
What a result for Sean Olivier. They'll be absolutely thrilled with that performance, and rightly so. They really put in the work and it's paid off in spades.
Impressive second-place finish for Keen Gauss.
Impressive performance. They pushed themselves to the limit for a fantastic second-place finish.
Impressive drive from Dylan Visagi to claim the final spot on the podium. Michelle Rust, Ernest Heather, J.P. Brand, and Peter Geldenhuys take 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th. In 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th, it's Adrian Gauss, Wayne Midden, Mark Guy, and Chantal de Jager. Finishing 12th, 13th, and 14th is Melvin Gauss, Bradley Fortuin, and Amir Rylance. Annie, the drivers are ready. Let the racing begin?
Yes, Mark, let the racing begin.
Starting from pole position is the best possible outcome for Amir Rylance. Bradley Fortuin will begin the race from the second spot on the starting grid.
A strong grid position, and they'll be expecting a solid result today.
Melvin Gauss has qualified third. We're seeing Chantal de Jager in the fourth spot. As the drivers prepare to take off, Mark Guy sits in fifth place on the starting grid.
Let's see what Mark Guy can do.
The lights go out, and we are off to a flying start.
This is where the true test of a driver's skill comes into play. It's all about finding the right line and carrying as much speed as possible through the turn.
The drivers will need to be precise and calculated if they want to make it through this section unscathed.
And with so many cars jostling for position, it's a real test of nerve as well. One wrong move and you could be out of the race before it even really gets started.
That's right. The pressure is really on these drivers to perform. The drivers are jockeying for position. Amir Rylance will be looking to get off to a good start and consolidate their position.
The first lap can always be a bit of a bun fight as everyone tries to establish themselves. It's easy for inexperienced racers to blow it in T1.
Not the best of starts there for Peter Geldenhuys, and that's going to immediately make their race more challenging. Someone must have told Amir Rylance this was a parade lap, because they're losing places like they're waving to the crowd. Excellent work from Amir Rylance, who has managed to increase their lead over Adrian Gauss. They seem to have found their rhythm and they are grooving to it.
That's exactly what Amir Rylance needed to do.
Great driving from Amir Rylance, who has just gained a place and moved up to third. This is what racing is all about, folks. Three fearless drivers pushing their machines to the absolute limit, inches apart.
Couldn't agree more, Mark. This wheel-to-wheel racing is what fans live for. The determination and tenacity shown by these drivers to gain even the smallest advantage is simply awe-inspiring.
The crowd is on their feet, roaring with excitement. It's an all-out war between these three drivers. Who will emerge victorious? Your guess is as good as mine. Wow, it's a close race for 10th. Jano van der Westhuizen is ahead with Peter Geldenhuys right on their tail with a gap of only 0.2 seconds.
If Peter Geldenhuys gets any closer to the back of Jano van der Westhuizen, then one of them is gonna need some lube, if they want to take this further.
It looks like Peter Geldenhuys is pushing hard to catch up to Jano van der Westhuizen. The gap is over a second, but Peter Geldenhuys is not giving up just yet. Can they close the distance and make a move on Jano van der Westhuizen?
It's moments like these that make motorsports so exciting. We're witnessing a battle of skill and strategy between two great drivers, with Peter Geldenhuys in 11th determined to catch up. But we know Jano van der Westhuizen isn't just going to hand it to them on a plate. Peter Geldenhuys is going to have to take it. It should be an interesting battle to watch as long as they can close that gap.
The pressure is on for Mark Guy as they try to catch up to Melvin Gauss.
It's a fine line between pushing the car to its limits and losing control. Mark Guy is really walking that tightrope.
It's neck and neck, the closest battle we've seen in a while.
Should things go awry, Sean Olivier and Adrian Gauss.
Breaking alert. I don't think that's the fastest way around Killarney International Raceway. This is what high-octane racing looks like. Keen Gauss is breathing down the neck of Dylan Visagie. not giving them any room to relax.
And the drivers know it too, Mark. They're giving it everything they've got, and you can see them pushing the limits of the car's capabilities.
This is what racing is all about. Two fierce competitors pushing each other to the limit.
As a former driver, I can tell you there's nothing quite like the adrenaline rush when you're this close to your rival, ready to make your move.
Every move counts now as Peter Geldenhuys works to reel in Michel Rust and overtake for P12. Oh my, Mark Guy is hot on the tail of Melvin Gauss. As they come into Kink, I'm sure they may have a cheeky peek up the inside. Adrian Gauss is pushing really hard, but as we know, pushing too hard can lead to other mistakes, like locking up the brakes or missing a shift. These drivers are walking a tightrope between pushing the limits and making costly errors.
Absolutely, it's all about finding that sweet spot where you're pushing the car to its limits without crossing the line into reckless driving. That's where experience and skill come into play. Sometimes you have to take risks to win, but pushing the car too hard can be a costly mistake. Adrian Gauss needs to be careful not to overdo it.
No room for error here. Ernest Heather is breathing down the neck of Keen Gauss, waiting for the perfect chance to make their move.
These two are putting on a masterclass in precision driving. Every turn, every acceleration, calculated to perfection.
The fans are on the edge of their seats. It doesn't get any closer than this.
Jano van der Westhuizen is following Ernest Heather so closely, they could start charging them rent for occupying the same space on the track.
Things are heating up as Peter Geldenhuys tries to close the gap to Michel Rust. This is what it's all about, folks. Mark Guy is in hot pursuit of Melvin Gauss, who's just trying to stay ahead. Big gains for Mark Guy as they move up the field, leaving Melvin Gauss behind. Hard break for Mark Guy as they slip down the field. Emir Rylands wants to close that gap with Adrian Gauss. It's a game of inches now as Keen Gauss tails Emir Rylands closely, ready to capitalize on any mistake.
When I was racing, we had a saying, if you're not living on the edge, you're taking up too much space. Keen Gauss is definitely living on the edge today.
Wow, Ernest Heather is really pushing hard to catch up to Jano van der Westhuizen. There's blood in the water for 8th place.
If this battle ends in tears, it could be like watching a high-speed domino effect, but let's hope they keep it clean and avoid any unplanned games.
Coming into Kink, the fight for 11th is heating up. Who will be the first to blink?
It's going to be a close one. Emir Rylands will have to push hard to create an opportunity.
Looks like Peter Geldenhuys is really pushing it to the limit. They're taking those curves aggressively, but that can unsettle the car and cause handling issues.
Indeed, taking too much curb can upset the car's balance, leading to oversteer or understeer. It's all about finding the right balance between speed and control. It's a game of strategy now as Peter Geldenhuys hunts down Emir Rylands. Yes, it's all about choosing the right moments to push and when to conserve energy, waiting for the perfect opportunity to strike.
The tension is high. These drivers are showing tremendous respect for each other while going all out. It's a masterclass in clean, hard racing. Hold your breath, folks. Keen Gauss is sandwiched between two relentless competitors. Adrian Gauss 0.1 seconds behind and Dylan Visagi 0.1 seconds ahead. They're fighting tooth and nail for every position.
No doubt about it, Mark. The gaps to the cars ahead and behind are like a constant reminder for Keen Gauss. They need to maintain their pace to defend their position and potentially make a move.
What do you think, Annie? Are there any specific factors that could lead to a driver losing concentration during a race?
There are several factors, Mark.
Braking alert. That won't be ideal for Ernest Heather.
Killarney International Raceway is always a test for these drivers, and sometimes that's the way it goes.
The gap between Sean Olivier in third and Mark Guy remains over a second, but Sean Olivier is not letting up. They're pushing hard and looking for any opportunity to close that gap up. Can they pull it back in the remaining 10 minutes? The intensity is off the charts as Michel Rust hounds Adrian Gauss, both drivers pushing themselves to the absolute limit.
That's right, Michel Rust is determined to pass Adrian Gauss and secure a higher position.
They're going for the same piece of tarmac. Sparks are flying as they battle for position, daring each other to brake later and go deeper into the corners.
Absolutely thrilling, Mark. The level of car control these drivers possess is exceptional. They're towing the line between maximum speed and maintaining control, making for a captivating spectacle.
This is wheel-to-wheel racing at its finest. The drivers are practically glued together as they fight for every inch of track. It's a battle you don't want to miss.
Exactly, Mark. It's like a high-stakes chess match on wheels. These drivers are analyzing every move and trying to anticipate their opponent's next move. It's a true test of their mental acuity.
This is where the skill and precision of the drivers really comes into play. Peter Geldenhuys is chasing Adrian Gauss in P10. Mark Guy has a battle on their hands now as they come through start-finish with Melvin Gauss hot on their tail. Talk about being caught in the middle. Mark Guy is sandwiched between their rivals. Melvin Gauss 0.1 seconds behind and Sean Olivier 0.2 seconds ahead. The battle for position is on. Seems like Jano van der Westhuizen is getting in range of Dylan Visagie.
Do they have the speed for
Braking development. Oh my, Peter Geldenhuys has had an incident.
Whoops, Peter Geldenhuys is going to be kicking themselves.
Mark Guy is giving it their all as they chase down Sean Olivier in P2. We got a close battle as Jano van der Westhuizen closes in on Dylan Visagie.
The slightest mistake from either driver could lead to a meeting with the barriers, and nobody wants an impromptu autograph session with the wall.
As they speed through Sabah, Emir Rylands is relentlessly pursuing Ernest Heather in a high-stakes battle for position.
This is the moment where legends are made. These drivers will go down in history as the ones who fought tooth and nail for the top spot.
This is a thrilling moment in the race, with Melvin Gauss in second defending their position with everything they've got. But Mark Guy is relentless, and the gap is less than 0.2 seconds. It's anyone's position at this point. It's a close race between Mark Guy and Melvin Gauss in second.
Can they close up enough for a pass? I don't see it personally.
The battle for 5 is heating up as Jano van der Westhuizen tries to catch Dylan Visagie in P5.
The gap between them is just over 0.4 seconds. Can Jano van der Westhuizen close that gap and get back in range? I can't see it happening at this point.
It's a tight race with Melvin Gauss in second, just managing to stay ahead of Mark Guy in 3 by a margin of 0.1 seconds. Oh, this is getting intense. Mark Guy is just behind Melvin Gauss.
If Mark Guy gets any closer, they might as well ask Melvin Gauss for a piggyback ride.
It's an intense battle for position as Jano van der Westhuizen tries to outmaneuver Dylan Visagie. This is edge-of-your-seat racing. We're starting to see who really has the pace now in this race as Mark Guy is starting to climb all over the back of Melvin Gauss. Any closer and they may need to pop the boot.
Yeah, I really can't see them holding on to this place for much longer.
Mark Guy could be looking for a way up the inside of Melvin Gauss. It looks like Jano van der Westhuizen is all over Dylan Visage. I think they are gonna press them through Volkswagen and try and press for a mistake.
For sure, Mark, that's exactly what I would be doing here, as Dylan Visage is gonna be aware of them riding their bumper.
Melvin Gauss is looking for an opportunity to get round Mark Guy. Fantastic move from Melvin Gauss, who has just gained a position.
Absolutely. Melvin Gauss is really putting on a clinic out there, and they're making it look easy.
Huge shout out to the admins at SRA for making this all possible. Without their hard work and dedication, we wouldn't be able to witness this incredible event.
That's right, Mark, and the excitement is high. I can feel it in my circuits. I mean, this is the kind of race that people will be talking about in the bar. We're witnessing history in the making.
The race is really heating up. Jano van der Westhuizen is hunting down Dylan Visage with everything they've got.
Who will be able to maintain their pace and come out on top?
This is where the race gets really interesting. Peter Geldenhuys is closing in on Adrian Gauss. The action is non-stop as Mark Guy shadows Melvin Gauss through every twist and turn, determined to claim second. A great moment for Mark Guy, who has just gained a place and moved up the standings. Things are heating up as Melvin Gauss closes in on Mark Guy. The gap between them is down to practically nothing. The adrenaline is pumping as Jano van der Westhuizen gets within striking distance of Dylan Visage in their race for fifth. It's neck and neck, the closest battle we've seen in a while.
It's a battle of nerves now. Who will make the first mistake? Adrian Gauss or Peter Geldenhuys? This is high-stakes racing.
A brilliant maneuver from Adrian Gauss, who has just moved up the field.
That's what we like to see. Adrian Gauss is really showing their class today.
Peter Geldenhuys seems to be putting the pressure on Adrian Gauss. It seems like Peter Geldenhuys is struggling. They are not able to maintain their pace. The pursuit is on. Mark Guy is closing the gap on Melvin Gauss, determined to claim P2. This is what high-octane racing looks like. Dylan Visage is breathing down the neck of Jano van der Westhuizen, not giving them any room to relax.
The chase between Dylan Visage and Jano van der Westhuizen is like a high-speed game of tag only. The stakes are much higher.
It's a thrilling pursuit as Adrian Gauss is right behind Peter Geldenhuys, keeping the pressure on for 10th place.
If Adrian Gauss pushes too hard, they might find themselves exploring the scenic route, and nobody's got time for sightseeing during a race.
It's a game of cat and mouse out there, with Dylan Visage trying to find the perfect opportunity to make a move on Jano van der Westhuizen. The gap is over a second, but every fraction counts. Can Dylan Visage close in enough to mount a challenge?
That's right. Dylan Visage in 6th knows they have to push to the limit if they want to catch up. But Jano van der Westhuizen is no slouch, and they're going to be pushing just as hard. It's a battle of skill and will out there.
It's a battle of wills out there. Each driver trying to outsmart and outmaneuver the other.
The only thing closer than Adrian Gauss to Peter Geldenhuys right now is the paint on their cars. Talk about a close encounter.
Hold on to your hats, folks. Peter Geldenhuys is right on the heels of Adrian Gauss, and we're in for a wild ride.
It's a thrilling battle for position as these two drivers give it their all. Who will come out on top? This is racing at its finest.
This is what racing is all about. Two fierce competitors pushing each other to the limit. The tension is high. Who will come out on top in this epic showdown?
If Mark Guy isn't careful, they might end up turning this high-speed chase into a synchronized spinning routine. And trust me, that's not a crowd pleaser.
It's like watching two predators circling each other, waiting for the perfect moment to pounce. Adrian Gauss is trying their best, but can't seem to find the pace to keep up with Peter Geldenhuys at the moment. It's a classic case of chasing down the car ahead for Jano van der Westhuizen, who is currently in P5. But JP Brand is not making it easy, and the gap remains over a second. This will require some expert driving from Jano van der Westhuizen.
It's going to be tough for Jano van der Westhuizen, as JP Brand seems to have found their rhythm. But anything can happen in racing, and we've seen Jano van der Westhuizen pull off some impressive moves before. I'm excited to see if they can make it happen again.
Wow, Adrian Gauss is really pushing hard to catch up to Peter Geldenhuys. There's blood in the water for 10th place. This is a thrilling battle as Jano van der Westhuizen edges closer to JP Brand in their fight for P4. It's looking good for Jano van der Westhuizen, who has gained places and put some distance between themselves and JP Brand. Sean Olivier is on fire in the last sector. And that, folks, is how it's done. A solid performance and great win from Sean Olivier.
And that's why Sean Olivier is one of the best in the business. A dominant display of driving from start to finish, leaving the rest of the pack in the dust.
Some might say that second place is the first loser, but Melvin Gauss certainly doesn't see it that way. They put in a phenomenal effort and should be proud of their impressive result.
Intense race, but Melvin Gauss held their nerve and earned a great second place.
Excellent focus from Mark Guy to secure a fantastic third place on the podium.
Great job bringing it home.
4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th is Jano van der Westhuizen, JP Brand, Dylan Visage, and Keen Gauss. Wayne Midden, Michel Rust, Peter Geldenhuys, and Adrian Gauss claim 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th. Ernest Heather, Amir Rylands, Bradley Fortuin, and Chantal de Jager in 12th, 13th, 14th, and 15th.